this evening.
Well, we're already streaming, so.
Oh, sweet.
We may actually be broadcasting late, but we're streaming now. But you'll still have to do an audio check, and you'll have to set shit up the way you want it. Put on my shirt, pull up my underwear, because I bought some that are too small.
You should just stream in your underwear.
Testies. 1, 2, 3. Do we need to do levels, or did you already do those?
He has not yet.
Well, I mean, I'll talk. Now you talk, Jason.
I'm talking.
Okay, I'm way quieter than you. Bring my level up.
Which one are you?
This one.
Which one's that?
Oh my god, there are 3 connections to that board.
I know.
Don't make me hurt you.
Check 1. That's way better. That's looking like I'm supposed to be.
Good.
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 Yep. Now we're both balanced.
That's
So
great.
if you put on those headphones, maybe you could actually tell something about this.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the actual levels. We're not peeking out, so that's good.
Sounds good here.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay.
Sounds good.
We're good.
It's good. Sounds good.
We're already sitting on
That
the...
sounds good.
That's sounding good. It's almost like we have a clue.
Almost.
Looks like we're settling all right in the green zone on that, so...
You should get on the lines and see.
That's what I'm doing.
See if we're actually streaming anything.
Should I start recording?
No. Oh, hell no. I have 0 disk space left.
Okay.
Besides, Twitch is ingesting for us nicely. You'll also have to check to see whether I'm anywhere near on camera. Because I'm a giant.
Boom, 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 boom.
Ooh, you want to give out your password to the internet, or do you want me to hand you this tablet? Kraken, right?
Cracking.
Kraken. Here.
All right. We have questions.
Are they good?
Yeah, I mean, they're up to my usual standards.
Oh shit, that bad? Fuck.
You had your chance. I even left half of them sitting there on the table for you to read.
Hit connect.
All right, let's pull up the...
Pull it out.
No.
We get a lot of buffering
Jason.
issues here.
Oh.
Check to make sure it's on the wired, not the wireless.
You could probably just turn the wireless right off. It's
not
off.
on the wireless, yeah. Turn Wi-Fi off.
If everything suddenly disappears, then you know it was on wireless.
It could also be that... Oh, no. I guess you would have kept the compressions and all that the same.
Yep.
Well, you are trying to watch it on the same computer you're streaming from.
Usually don't have that problem, though.
Well, you were saying your internet was shite earlier.
Yep. Uh-oh. Might work better on the wireless.
No.
No.
Well, the hard wires weren't working, but the wireless seemed to be.
That's your router then.
Yeah.
That is not...
Did we burn out his router? Did we fry a router? Because that would be awesome.
Anybody got an extra router kicking around?
I probably do.
Roger's one?
Fuck.
Like, I mean, we're getting internet.
Yeah, I'm able to get shit. Let me look at Twitch.
Relatively quick.
It's buffering to hell.
Are we buffering on the output, or is it the downstream?
No, it's the downstream that's...
Downstream.
Well, pause the downstream, and then check to make sure that it's happening to other people, to see if there's anybody... If there's anybody else who bothers to watch us anymore.
Are we even relevant?
No. We haven't been relevant ever.
It's looking fine here. It's looking fine on my iPad. There's no buffering.
Weird, man.
Yeah, so just bring up the chat, dude. Yeah, this is streaming. This is streaming fluidly here. Oh, that's
Hear the
sad.
baby screaming.
That's sad that nobody's watching.
Well, that's what happens when you miss...
1 week.
Well, no, we had a non-standard episode last week, and we missed a week.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, we still did stuff. We played a game. Where's the fucking chat thing on this?
Dude.
There it is. Hello, chat.
All right, whenever you guys are ready, we'll just get started.
We are our one viewer.
That's okay.
It's not fair.
It's all because Brad left.
Well, normally we would have gone live half an hour ago.
True.
Oh, we did. We went live pretty late, eh?
We went live like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
That's all right.
We are recording.
Didn't George just say not to record? Because
Oh, you don't want to record at all?
Yeah, well, obviously we're recording on Twitch.
Okay.
So
Well,
don't record on.
Okay.
Don't record locally because
Oh, now we
I don't
have
the
3
space.
viewers.
Hey!
Hello, viewers.
That'd be you and me and George.
No, I'm not viewing.
Hey, we got one viewer who's
Yay!
not us.
I was looking up show notes.
All right, we will. Sorry for the delay, folks. We will get started in about a minute and a half.
How's it? Can you see me on the stream?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, I wasn't sure because I set up the camera before I sat down.
No, you're solid.
Awesome.
You're a little bit off. I mean, you're off to the side.
But
Just lean in this way. Don't lean out.
just
Yeah,
Lean in.
stroke your beard a lot over here.
Look,
Yeah, that's your new look.
4 viewers. 4
All right,
viewers.
see, it's
my
climbing.
beard's all soft.
It's
We're here.
skyrocketing.
We're here, fellas. We're here.
Okay, guys. We sorry for
Ready?
the delay, but we will be
I've
broadcasting
been
about
using a new beard oil.
4 minutes. Do you actually own beard oil?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm a giant fucking hipster.
Yeah, nice.
It's even called lumberjack.
Fuck
you
off.
use the lumberjack?
Yeah.
Nice. I was looking at beard oils because, well, at a certain point when your
Once
beard
you hit
gets to a
this
certain
size of beard, you need beard
Can't
oil.
broadcast for a minute.
because you didn't take the beers out of the
I
freezer.
didn't get the beers out of the fridge.
Oh God damn it!
You may as well bring 2 more down.
3.
Bring 3 down.
gonna need a
George,
beer.
George needs a beer.
This has been a wonderful podcasting day, and it's my first day back at work.
Oh, well, it's actually we're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, like I mean, we could be 3.
We have 2 viewers. You know,
We have a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, we are pretty much the biggest podcast on the internet, broadcasting live from Twitch on Wednesday night at 8:06.
I think Chain Attack is broadcasting a game tonight.
Those bastards.
Chain Attack,
Where's my hand?
they're just coming at us because one of your beers exploded, probably.
No, they're not open. Do you want me to open that for you now?
I got half a beer. I'll open that.
Oh my god.
Did you open that one for me?
Sure, George. You want
George?
beer?
George is starting
Okay.
early. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be beginning our broadcast in about 2 minutes. Just
So
enough.
I can sit down and hit the button.
As soon as, well, no, we'll start right at 8:10.
Okay.
I'll make a good time.
Give some folks some time to log in. Thank you for joining us, all those who are joining us on the stream. Good to be back.
Have you seen Dat ADR?
I have seen Dat ADR.
I'm thinking Father Hammer Time.
Yeah, I figured that would be the direction. Well, you know, I may have
But-
to go back to Signar for season 3.
Syntherian.
Did you see the Circle one?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't. Really
Kruger and Chromac 1. Pretty good.
That's kind of mean.
Totally.
What's
unbiased.
Crix? How bad is Crix?
Crix isn't so
Epic
bad.
Gorshade.
They're trying.
Ooh, Morton Nebra. And,
Yeah, Morty and Gorshade will
Yeah, Skulls.
probably.
Denegra 3 and Scar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck me.
Yeah. But did you look
goat
at this? There is a couple of the
Hey, I actually own the
Mercs got
casters.
kind of. I got enough to do a Mercs if I want to go.
Oh, did they get... Oh, they
If I
got...
want to go Monodor.
They got Thexus.
Yeah, it's Texas, and I could go Texas and Monodor on that one.
Bart.
Bart. Broadside Bart.
Bart.
I just guess I should turn my ringer off.
Yep, that's...
We're all reaching for a ringer. Okay, guys, it's 8:09.
Your failure has...
As always, we
Stop.
broadcast at 8:10 sharp-ish.
Eventually.
8 o'clock sharp.
Are we ready?
Yeah. Hit that button.
Welcome to to This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, the explicit all Warma Hordes news podcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, and the Death Clock starts now.
All right, guys, welcome to This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes. As I've already said, we are the all Warma Hordes podcast that airs Wednesday nights at around 8 o'clock. Sorry for the delay, and we also need to apologize for missing a week entirely. But you guys did a really cool podcast while I was away. You did a 50...
We did one.
50 points in 50 minutes.
I don't know how cool it was, but we did
dude,
one.
I mean, here's the thing.
We may try it again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm away again for another shoot, and that kind of thing happens. And I apologize to all the fans... that tune in.
Sorry, Brad.
To Brad.
To Brad.
We apologize to Brad.
Okay, so first off, I need to introduce my co-host over there on the stream. Taking your questions is the one and only Maelstrom.
It's me. Give me questions.
So if you're watching the stream live, you actually can interact with Maelstrom. He will talk back to you. He will say nice things about you. He will do anything you request on his camera.
Pretty
so
much
if you
anything.
ask him to do something on his little camera, he will do it.
Yep.
It's if you're into that kind of thing, it's the cheapest one of those live video porn sites you can get. If you want a hairy white man on the other end.
Ugh.
It's if that's your thing. I don't even know where I'm going with that. We'll just
Move it right along.
Moving on to my other co-host. Over next to me is the one and only PG Semi-Auto Magic.
Hello.
We of course need him here because he's the only one that actually knows the rules
Yeah.
to some degree.
I was gonna say, as long as I have Marc Andre feeding me answers in my ear, I absolutely know everything.
What you need is one of those like little ear things, like secret agents.
Marc Andre,
have.
no, that's wrong. Stop it.
Okay, so it's been a couple weeks. A few interesting things happened while I was away. Again, I was on a shoot in Curacao. If you're a longtime watcher of the stream, you will know that I am a producer on a television show, which is why we have all this fabulous camera equipment in this incredible set.
I love the stag rush.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's amazing that you were able to print
Beautiful.
that on such a huge screen without getting in trouble.
We do the work.
And then we can just change it. Like sometimes we put a different screen up there. Anyway, so I was away on a shoot, and that happens from time to time, which is the only times that we miss this podcast. But while I was away, a couple interesting things happened. PG Semi-Auto Magic, what are some of the exciting things that happened coming out of Privateer Press?
Well, with the quiet that was the last little while, most of the new stuff all kind of, I won't say got spoiled, but were released on the last Primecast.
Right.
Just before that, we found out that War Room was coming, that there is a new version of War Room out there, and there was a lot of scrabbling for people to get in the beta for iOS, and for everybody else to just go and download the beta for...
I got in, I was like within 5 minutes of that thing.
I didn't get in for iOS, but I did grab the Android version, which anybody can grab, by the way. And then Primecast came out, and that let slip a bunch of stuff.
Slip is a strong word.
Well,
They let us know.
Released a bunch of information.
Yeah, tons of cool stuff. I mean, they had that Primecast. If you haven't listened to it, guys, get onto the Privateer website, Privateer Press website. Listen to that Primecast. They brought in everybody.
Yeah, they try and get many people in as possible.
But I thought what was really cool was that it's the first time the Primecasts always, to me, have always felt filtered by legal, if that makes sense.
Yes,
like,
I know what you mean.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say. That one kind of felt like they were like, fuck it, say whatever you want.
You think we should say that? Probably not, but let's do it anyway.
Let's do it. So we learned, of course, Will Hungerford, your friend Will Hungerford, was on there, loud and proud,
organized play coordinator,
announcing. I mean, it sounds like next year we're getting some cool stuff.
The strange thing is that we're not getting it till the middle of next year.
Right. So the biggest announcement that came out of that was that they're going to wait until, I want to say, June.
Well, it was June this year. What's happening is there was this weirdness. It used to be that at the beginning of the year they would make TempleCon their big announcement. And the reason that happened is because it was right at the beginning of the year, and that it had a lot of War Machine players at it. before there was Lock and Load, which is relatively new as something that everyday people can go to. Lock and Load originally started off, from what I understand, as a PG invitational that they had at their headquarters.
Right.
And since then it's grown into an actual con. But because they needed somewhere to announce stuff before that, they took the biggest con that was at the beginning of the year, which was TempleCon. But then TempleCon moved.
Yeah. They moved it into the summer.
And they had to have that question to August, and they had to make this question, do I do the...
do we find some other con to announce it at?
Something? Do we do...
But they also...
Captain Con that's sort of replacing it in there?
One of the things that Will Hungerford also said was they really want to make Lock and Load one of their premier events.
They want to make it the thing.
The War Machine weekend, Lock and Load.
They want to start and end the year at Lock and Load.
Which is really cool. One of the things I'd like to say, I think we're going to try to make it dedicated just to the Moosies out there, anybody that does listen to the podcast, is we are actually, this season coming up, is our first year as MooseMachine where we're going to make a dedicated attempt to try to get to some of the bigger cons and try to interact more with you, the audience, and really, once again, we don't... One of the things I really want to be clear about is we are not experts. No. One of the reasons why we... Because, I hear about this all the time on the forums and stuff. I watched a podcast where people who claim to be experts...
We don't claim
We do not claim to be experts in any way, shape, or form. One of the reasons why you and I started the original podcast, which was the show that shall not be named because it had swearing in it... Fuck, I can't believe we did that. Is what we designed this about was to learn from other players.
To figure out how to play.
To allow people to criticize what we do to make us better. And that has evolved into what this is, which is our weekly news show. But again, this is about open discussion and about getting things wrong. And what I want to do this year is I want to try to get, as MooseMachine, we 2, 3, 1, whoever can go, is I want to try to get to Lock and Load this year. We definitely are on for TempleCon as far as we know, unless something happens. And we will be at the SOO. And I think for us, those are sort of our three premier cons. And of course, one of us is always at one of the Ottawa area, Montreal, Gatineau, Kingston events. Any of the bigger events, we're always trying to be there. But and that's why I think, and to sort of circle back around to why we're having this conversation and why I said all that, that's why we get so excited about new stuff from Will Hungerford.
Yeah.
You know this backstory with Will Hungerford better, but those who are not giant fans of War Machine, who are getting into this game, or who are more into the tactical aspect and don't really care about the people that we care about. You told me once the interesting thing about Will Hungerford was, and who knows whether this is verified, I think you know this better than I do, is that he was just a fan of the game to start with. It just built really good...
Well, this is again from my understanding.
The legend of Will Hungerford.
Is that before he was brought on by Privateer Press, he created Steamroller, or what became Steamroller, the tournament packet that we now all know and love. And he was refining that before he got hired by Privateer Press.
Right.
And they basically hired him to get that knowledge in-house to be able to work with him on the scenario rules that everybody were just already using.
And you need somebody that's their dedicated thing in order to develop the game. And we've said this before to new players, and I'll say it again. If you are playing this game, the best thing you can do for yourself, even out of a competitive situation, is download the Steamroller packet and play with it.
Yeah.
Get a clock and play with it. It changes your game, and to me, it makes the game more fun. If you're just having nothing but I kill your caster, you kill my caster, this game dies really quick.
There are some casters that are just provably worse if you have no scenario.
Right.
Control casters don't really have anything to control without any scenario. And please, if you're going to use scenarios, do not use the ones from the baseline books.
They're just out of date.
They're 10 years... Well, they're not 10 years old. They're since Mark II. So they're like 5 years
They're
old.
really out of date.
They're really out
And guys, honestly, the Steamroller packet is so much fun. And I would say I'm not enjoying this year's Steamroller. No offense to Mr. Hungerford or any of those guys. I don't like... There's 2 scenarios in that packet that unless you took the right caster, and if the other guy did take the right caster, their auto wins. They're just too fast. The 3 flag scenario where all 3 flags stay out there, it's way too easy for a guy who has a caster that has a solid lockdown feat to win. It's just straight up.
Interesting.
There's a couple of different scenarios that I just don't enjoy in that packet, whereas the year before it, I don't think I had one. Maybe I wasn't as invested a player at that point.
I find really interesting because 3 flags didn't change that much between the two.
One used to disappear.
That was 2 years ago.
Okay, well, whatever. That's for me. Maybe I'm not. There's a couple of scenarios that I don't enjoy, and I just think I find
But
that
the thing is, there's always going to be scenarios you don't enjoy.
True,
in something like this.
But I'm excited about the next one.
Yeah, your play style is always going to be a little bit different. Now, one of the big things that they always had to plan around, which was feats like Denny 2's lockdown feat that could not be shaken, they no longer have to work around those feats.
Right.
So I would expect that the next Steamroller, it is my fervent hope that all the zone sizes stay the same.
Because otherwise, all the Muson minis and
all the templates
money
that
we
all
spent.
of us have made or purchased are all going to be wrong. So what I think would be the sort of best would be just a change up of where those are.
Right.
Even if you wanted to do something interesting, overlapping zones.
Right.
To create new and interesting shapes on the battlefield.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, yeah.
But I think the big changes in Steamroller maybe all behind us right now. I think what is going to change it's going to be iteration rather than innovation for a little while. Now, for all I know, we could be completely wrong because this is such a big shakeup.
Well, there's also let's move Steamroller aside.
Okay.
The coolest announcement is they're getting rid of hardcore.
Yes.
And
now,
they're bringing
some people
in
are going to hate this. I know hardcore players, old school hardcore players, who are going to be screaming at the...
I don't know, but then that is such... You're talking about 0.5% of 0.5% of our...
Yes.
Of our... I mean, let's say 40% of the War Machine players out there play high-level competition, and then... Like 1% of those are the ones that are like, I always play hardcore, and let's say that there's maybe 0.5% of those that are like, fuck no, hardcore is my life.
Yeah.
But the cool part is what they're replacing it with is
the champion format.
the champion format, which will bring in a point system for things like best painted, most points won.
Well, those are things that already existed in hardcore.
Right.
The big thing that this introduces, and which is something that a lot of people have been asking for a while, which is a limited format to War Machine. So to take a step outside of tabletop games, if you go to Magic, Magic has a set of different formats that you can play, and you can play in Legacy, where you get to play every card that was ever made. But most people play in a format that is the last expansion or last big expansion, and I think 2 ones earlier or something like that. And what that allows them to do is to have a format that is a controlled number of cards, so they don't have to worry about every interaction with every card ever made. And one of the big problems that we hear a lot in War Machine is that in a game that is 10 years old and has never invalidated a model, we're starting to see model bloat to the place where you literally can't prepare for everything. And more to the point, you have the knowledge and the skill to prepare for all these things, but because the pool is so deep, you can't.
You can't do it all.
And the greatness of the champion format, and this, of course, we don't know how it's going to actually work out, but the current thinking is that the champion format will allow a limited play. In fact, I believe it's going to be based on the ADR.
On the ADR, yeah.
And you will know what casters are coming out of each faction.
Yeah.
And that way you can prepare. Because not
You're
only...
never going to get more than
You're
what's
never
on the
going to get
ADR.
more than... Now, you might see the Dark Horse caster, and you're like, why? You know, it's like, why are you bringing more Nebra? You could be bringing Scar, but you'll never not have to sit down and, okay, what if Crix goes jack heavy?
Well, it's going to be crazy, though, because you get some of those high-level players that only play a couple of casters. They don't risk it all on... And most ADRs, you can look at them and go, okay, well, there's one top-tier caster, 2 B-level casters, and a D. I mean, it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to go, oh... I know what Marc-Andre is going to have.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be really, really cool. Once again, the reason why Masters or Champions doesn't come up in your competitive play
Not Masters, hardcore.
Not hardcore, sorry. Or this Champions format doesn't come up as often in your local meta competition. It's because fully painted is really difficult.
It's got to do fully painted. You've got timed turns.
Yeah.
Not death clock, not anything else. You've got...
It's difficult.
Killer scenario in hardcore, kill box is kill box, and in hardcore, if it's dice down, you both lose.
Yeah,
not one person goes to you just flat out both lose. So it is always been the most hardcore
of the formats.
And I'd like to see Champions maintain that hardcore, but bring in this limited format. I think
that's a really great.
Good.
Also, there's things that a lot of people are hoping for as well, which is that we get rid of tier lists from that.
I don't think you need to get rid of tier lists if you only have 5 casters.
True that. All right, so let's leave that behind. I think the other thing that got leaked was Season 3 ADR.
Yep.
I think a lot of people that are really... I think there's a few Signar players out there doing friggin' happy dances, because theirs is friggin' strong. Although it's like... 2 assassination casters, one that's going to be really powerful with the next with the release of the next not gargantuan. This is how long I've been
Colossal.
Away. Next colossal, and Haley. You got to have a Haley in there.
I can't wait to see ADR Gunbjorn with Mountain Kings and
my God,
Borka coming across the table. I think that would be awesome.
With trolls, you're going to see most people playing Gristle, with something.
And can we all just agree that having Epic Lilith and Epic Abby on ADR is kind of broken? Circle is also going to be everybody playing Kruger and your second list. Yeah, which will be like, do I want to play Chromac or do I want to play Moser? As always, they've made the mistake of letting Convergence have Father Lucant, but I know they couldn't take him away for too long.
And, and Axis. So you basically have your 2 strongest.
I don't know. I might run Syntherian Axis.
Well, you don't play Axis's tier list, which is like...
as I said, Syntherian Axis, not Syntherian Lucant.
So, and then of course, I mean, so you can go onto the Privateer Press website right now. You'll see on the lower right-hand side, Will Hungerford did a whatever, I can't remember, Prime Chat or whatever, Insider, and at the bottom of that you can go through your active duty rosters. Here's the question that a lot of new players have,
or
at least had earlier today. Please re-ask the question over there, Mr. Maelstrom.
The one I asked you guys earlier today?
What was your question earlier?
What the fuck is ADR?
Right. So first things first, it stands for active duty roster. Active duty, I'll do the first part and you can take over the rest. An active duty roster basically means the 4 casters that are currently in the field fighting live. Like the idea in the sort of thematic presence is they're the 4 casters that are actually out in the field fighting right now. Okay. And those 4 casters, because they're out in the field fighting, have sort of an access to a greater pool of things to reinforcements type of thing. So explain to me over to you, PG Semi-Auto-Magic. Explain to me how that works in an actual tournament setting.
Well, in a tournament setting, what that means is, first of all, you have to be playing in a tournament that supports it. If you're playing in Ottawa, that means any freaking tournament, because we've been asked for it so much. Yeah. But
people love
everywhere else, it will probably just be Masters tournaments, unless there's been a specific request made. So during a Masters tournament, if both of your casters come from the ADR, then what happens is that you will be able to get an extra 20 points of sideboard for each caster. So, for example, if I'm doing ADR January 5th, say, I'll be able to pick for my convergence between Aurora Axis, Father Lucant, and Forge Master Syntherian. If I wanted to run my 2 lists that I normally run, which is Mother and Father, then I would no longer be able to get... I would no
don't
longer
get access
be in
to the
ADR.
sideboard.
I would not have access
You
to
need
that
both
sideboard.
your casters
to be part of
ADR. And then that 20 points is something you choose in advance, and it is so. Talking about a sideboard, that's more of a old-fashioned Napoleonic war game,
or Magic or anything like that.
Used to sort of keep a board of models that were your reinforcements off to the side, or cards off to the side that you could substitute at the beginning of the game in for
cards that you have.
Cards that you have.
Basically, if you keep in your head the fact that you're making a 70-point list that you get to bring 50 points of each time, then you won't go too far wrong.
No,
there are a bunch of restrictions to that as well. You can't go in and out of tier. You can go up and down in your theme force. So you can go from tier 1 to tier 4, or tier 4 to tier 2.
Yep.
But you cannot go from outside of the theme force to inside of the theme force.
In most cases, people are probably going to stay out of tier.
Yes.
In most cases.
Just because...
certain cases you're not, like Force Wall.
Syntherian.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that you have to swap card for card.
Yeah.
So there's no going from a min to a max unit unless you have the min or max unit as an entire unit in your sideboard.
Yeah.
So you could, for example, have a min unit of Sword Knights and then a max unit in your sideboard. But that would take up the full amount of the Sword Knight max unit in your sideboard. You wouldn't be able to add anything else.
Right. And the other thing that goes with that, guys, is this happens. So the reason why you have this, so this to sort of help people go, well, why the fuck do I want all that confusion? Think of it this way. And I would say it's mainly an advanced player thing. If you're a relatively new player, if you're at your like 8th month, you've only gone to 3 cons or 3 competition tournaments, I wouldn't get into ADR too heavily.
I wouldn't bother.
Because the reality is what it's for is for guys who are in their 3rd year playing, who know their opponents relatively well, and somebody goes and slaps down, let's say you've chosen to play, I'm just going to pull this out of my ass, Ekane. And your opponent slaps down Kruger with the full Druid boat and all that type of stuff, so you're basically going to shut down all my gun line. Then I may want to start looking into my ADR to solve problems, is the idea. Or let's say I have no magical weapons, but my ADR list, my reinforcement list, my specialists, I have
called a Vanguard.
Vanguard. Let's say I have Ian and Holt over there.
Yeah.
And I'm about to go into a game with the paladin dudes that stop me from hitting anything but with magical weapons. Then I can go, oh, sweet. Let's pull in. I'm going to swap out Reinhold and Squire for Ian and Holt and solve that problem because Ian and Holt can get magic weapons.
Some very interesting things for lists. It allows you to create a more significantly tailored list than you would normally. For example, if you're doing a Lilith 2 gun line, normally you auto-include a Naga because what if you come up against Menoth and you can't shoot anything? So you have to be able to give out magical weapon. But if you have a sideboard where you can stick that Naga in the off chance that you run up against a Menoth list, you can have those points back to invest in another model that might help you out more. Maybe you need Witch Dog Croc for some undead. Maybe you need something else that you can swap in.
It also really helps if you're normally facing... If you're used to facing War Machine, but you need some Horde solutions. This is a great time to keep in your sideboard Alton Ashley or some of the other really specialized... my example is always Iris 1 or Iris 2.
Yeah.
Well, Iris 1 is amazing against War Machine, but horrible against Hordes. If you have Iris 2... It's kind of like, oh, they're the same level. I think
Victor
they're the same
and
level.
his students.
Victor Pendrake is another.
There's all kinds of stuff.
We have a question from the board.
Just a side note from Vector Falcon. You cannot change the tier of your theme force in ADR either.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
Incorrect, yeah.
Well, that's fine. That's where we always are learning. But anyway, that is sort of the idea. So we've given you what ADR is because that comes up all the time.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody learns from this podcast. The 3 people that are listening already knew, but that's okay. So I think we've covered the bases on that. We've got the big announcements. War Machine, the new War Room. We have briefly talked about it. The new War Room has come out. I'm in the beta. You're in the beta.
Yep.
You can't currently fight, which is kind of... But I have played around with the painted model, creating my list of
all the models you own.
all the models I own. Fantastic.
This is called a collection manager.
Oh my god!
And it was something that was in the software that shall not be named and has been missing from War Room. When War Room was originally replacing the software that shall not be named, they basically said, "This is what War Room shall do. It is not this other piece of software." Right. And so War Room then grew up in this sort of horrible world of there was this other piece of software that did all these things, and you've replaced it with a piece of software that does not do those things.
But War Room's great. We love War Room.
But
we
War Room is now adding those features back in.
And having a collection manager, I mean, I didn't play when the other software was around, so I don't really know about it. I can't comment on if it's better or worse. But I will say having a painted or just what I own collection manager, for me, is friggin' huge. Yeah. And apparently the nice thing is that when you hit those buttons, it doesn't necessarily just exclude them entirely from the list. It just makes them red. So you don't own them, or they don't apply. So that means I can go,
well, when,
I really want
when
that.
You're writing a list, people who are familiar with War Room now, when you're creating a new list, it asks you for the name, the point size, and it says, do I want to use specialists? And now it also asks you, do you want league models? Do you want your just
great,
your models?
The league models
do you
always
want
making that
your models that are painted?
Yeah.
Right? Which is really great because you can say, oh, I'm going to, for example, a hardcore event or a champion event. I can go, I want to make a list. The only models that are allowed are the ones that are painted and in my library.
Which is fantastic. So I really like that. I actually, you were making fun of today that the only thing that works on the new War Room right now is the backgrounds. But I kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, I love the background.
It was like the first thing I noticed, I'm like, I can change the background. Yeah, now this is my... It's like, I'm playing Circle, so it looks like Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. There's it's good to see. First off, when this new app comes out, we're not going to spend a cent on it.
Well,
as far as we know.
It's just
going to replace the app we have. It's great to see a company not try to gouge us on buying more stuff to improve something that yeah, exactly. Yeah. So good news, guys. We've played it so far. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
It crashes on me, but I'm on an iPad too, as I discussed earlier today. I need a new iPad.
It has not.
So sponsor us on. Just kidding.
Yeah, it hasn't crashed on my little Fire tablet.
Which is we're all apparently going to go get a 6-pack of Fire tablets and. Might be the way to go. Okay, so let's move on, guys. We were actually at the halfway point in the show, which is about the perfect time, because our topic of discussion today, we're going to...
Focus!
There we go. We're going to focus on talking about tools of the trade. We were going to talk a bit about... I think I was going to get us to talk about movement today, but I think what we'll do is we're just going to talk about some of the things that help us play better. And measurement being a large part of that. Beer helps you play better. This is an audio podcast mainly, George. You do need
that's something for just the visual.
That was just...
just for the
and
visual.
Jason will be doing stuff for just the visual later.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Tune in for the special edition of MooseMachine.
Patreon.
Where you get, you need to pay
for
big,
our Patreon subscribers only.
For our Patreon subscribers, you get to see the moose. All right.
And the machine.
We're just going down a weird rabbit hole in this particular.
Let's move on again.
All right, so I need to go to my sent messages. Let me just pull up my thingamabob here that tells me all the stuff.
I want to create a steampunk MooseMachine outfit. Giant moose head.
That would be kind of good.
All right, where was I? Here's the funny thing is
You don't have your own show notes up, do you?
No, I actually... Jeez. It's weird. No, I thought I had it. There we go. Death Block. There it is. I had it up and then...
You wrote the show notes.
I know. Okay, so let's start by, I think one of the most important tools that you can start with in War Machine. And this will get us into what we were going to talk a bit about in focus today, was about measurement and accurate measurement, which also was all over the forums today. Somebody was bitching about watching podcasts and seeing lousy measurements, which of course we know from actually podcasting that the angle of the camera changes the angle of the dangle.
Oh, yeah.
What you see, because first off, generally, a camera is not going to be straight down. We don't want it straight down, because then you can't see what a model is.
You're just looking at
it's off on an angle, which of course changes what the measurements look like. So all of this stuff where you see people faking, we're like, oh my god, I watched a game between blah, 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 and he was totally fudging the measurements. It's like...
Well, it looks like that probably only to you.
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem with measurements in War Machine. All these goddamn 3D models.
Yeah.
They keep sticking up off the table.
Yeah.
falling off.
And parallax is a thing.
Yeah, and falling off of mountains all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. But
we could play with little flat tokens, but I don't think the game would be nearly as much fun.
Yeah. But what that brings up is measuring tapes and measuring from one location to another.
All right. So let's talk about measuring tools. And let's go, ignoring how to accurately measure, because we know we've talked about this before. Go to the table if you can. If you can't, call over a judge. Get them to help you accurately measure, and trust the judge's call.
Please call judges.
In competition. In
Yeah,
friendly games, don't call a fucking judge.
No, but when you're at a
don't be a
competition, there is this guy sitting at a computer in the corner, out of his mind with boredom, because nobody will call a fucking judge.
Unless you're in the Ottawa meta.
In which case, we throw up our hands so fast.
Judge.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two... Well, let's talk about the very first accurate measuring tool you can buy. The first thing you really should buy as a War Machine player that's not part of your opening starter box is your measuring tape.
A good measuring tape.
Okay, so rule number one, do not go and buy the one that looks like a skull made by the...
Rule number one, take the measuring thing out of the two-player bottle box, throw it in the garbage.
Rule number two, do not go to your local game. I love my friendly local gaming store, but do not fall for the thing that looks like a skull with a little measuring tape stick. The $40,000 measuring tape
Games Workshop
that
tape
breaks in 10 minutes. Shh! The company that shall not be named.
I'll name their ass all day long.
Okay, do not buy that.
I will shame their ass all day long.
Because that is a shit piece of equipment that will never...
But it looks so cool.
Yeah, but it's going to last you about a week.
Yeah, but it looks so cool.
Go and buy it, put it on a shelf.
Yes.
And look at it sometimes and give it the
They
finger.
are a model company first. They are not a measuring tool company.
All right. Go to your local hardware store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your first inclination is going to be to buy the beefiest looking $40 Teflon covered, has a laser pointer in the measuring tape. That's going to be what you buy. And you're going to show up to the table and it's going to be awkward.
Yeah. Real awkward.
Don't buy that one.
Yeah.
The one you want is the one that's at the cache that has a keychain attached to it. It's about yay big, and I think it's about a 6-foot measuring tape.
Yeah.
I think you can find them down to 3 foot, but
make sure you don't get the ones that are really flimsy.
No.
Like you get those ones, you pull them
still
out
want a
and
metal
they just
one.
dangle like a flaccid
cucumber.
Yeah.
You
Don't
want
buy
a metal
those.
one. You don't want the flaccid cucumber.
You know when you leave it in the plastic and you don't eat it and it just kind of rots. Anyway.
So what he's talking about is the cloth measuring tapes. The cloth measuring tapes have their purpose. They're a great accurate measuring tool when you need to go to the table and you don't want to knock over a bunch of models, or if you have a whole bunch of magnetized models.
Yeah.
But you want the metal measuring tape, but you want the 3 to 6 foot ones that are small, that are keychain size. They're fantastic. First off, they're usually about $2.
Yeah.
Buy 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because you will break your first
Put
measuring
one in
tape.
your bag and then use the other one.
Yeah.
And then when that one breaks, then you can reach into your bag and pull the other one out. Now, here's kind of a rule of thumb. A War Machine table is 4 feet by 4 feet. Pythagoras says that the diagonal is not going to be 6 feet. So a 6-foot tape is more than sufficient.
Exactly. You'll never need more than 6 feet, no matter what your wife says. So... second accurate measuring tool you can buy. Now, once you've got your measuring tape and you're happy with your measuring tape, you'll go through 10 measuring tapes, I want to say, before you find
It's going to take a while.
one.
Some people can use those giant beef tapes. I can't, and I don't think you should. But yeah, it's going to take a little while before
You'll find one that you
you'll
like.
find one
And,
you
and I'm
like.
not saying that the guy who figures out that he loves the beef tape. Some people love the beef tape.
They do.
I'm not saying that that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying you will find the one that you like.
Yeah, I use a little Fat Max 6-footer, and it is great.
Yep, and I've got this. I think I
we have the
eventually
same
ended
one.
up on the same one after breaking about 10 of them.
Yeah.
Now the next step is to buy accurate measuring tools.
Yes.
And the first time you buy an accurate measuring tool, it's not what you think it is. You probably got it from one of 2 or 3 companies. You can buy Privateer Press.
Yep.
Has their plastic tool.
Their accurate measuring set.
Accurate measuring set.
Muse has one.
Yep. Muse on Minis has a great one. Yeah. So that's the Ottawa Gatineau War Machine flaccid.
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah.
Although that's not as bad as the really flaccid tape.
Yep.
Okay. So there's Muse on Minis. I believe Broken Egg Games as well
Yep.
has ones. We are, of
Everybody-
course, big advocates of Muse on Minis because they make quality products.
Yeah, they do. Everybody has a variant on this tool. There's a couple different shapes of this tool. You'll see the hatchet. You'll see the longer one. But the big thing that all these tools do is give you the 4 important measurements, which are 3, 5, half an inch, and 2. And they change slightly in how they give those to you, but the big importance here is that you have reach, that you have regular melee, that you have stealth, and that you have forest, which is 3 inches through the forest.
Now, here's why why we call this the accurate measuring tool beyond just those 4 or 5 important things. Is also this comes in really handy because most movement is either
3
3,
or
5, or most
4.
anything along those lines can generally be done with 1 or 2 of these accurate measuring tools.
That's often why you'll see when they come in a set, you'll actually get 2. You'll get one. Both of them will usually have the half inch and the 2 inch because those
but
are
one will
very-
be 5 inches and one will be 6 inches.
One will be 3 and 5, and the other will be 4 and 6.
Right. So that gives you basically all of the
Just
things.
about every movement speed except for
the Storm
some of the
Raptor.
signars
and
that are
Storm
7,
Raptors who get to move 7.
7 and 9s.
Yeah.
But at that point, you need a measuring tape anyway.
Well, the most important thing about this is actually I find what changed me on using the accurate measuring tool all the time, particularly for movement, and of course melee and reach, it's always comes up.
Yeah.
But for movement, it came in with colossals. When you move
Yes.
over to colossals and gargantuans, it's almost impossible to judge it with a tape measure accurately.
Now, the thing I was speaking about parallax earlier, and I think that's really important when we're talking about colossals, is it comes into an even bigger play because of the height of a colossal. Now, just to be simple, parallax is the visual problem where you have 2 things of the same size, but when you look at them from an angle, you are going to either lengthen or shorten the distances based on the height of the tape measure over the base of the miniature. And because in War Machine we measure from base to base on everything, that's the measurement you're trying to get closest to.
Well, what's worse for parallax in this particular situation is in 99.9% of the situations when somebody's looking at that measurement, you're looking at it from one angle and your opponent's looking at it from another, which means you're getting opposing parallax, which means your opponent will see you out of range generally, and you will see yourself in range, which is why you need to call a judge.
Yeah.
Or go to the table, and then it's indisputable. My tape measure is 6. My accurate measuring tool is 6 inches long. It is here and here.
I make it a rule of thumb: the bigger the base, or more to the point, the taller the model.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
The
the
more
bigger the
important
base.
it is.
The taller the model, the more important it is to use quick measuring tools.
Right. So we've got our measuring tools. Some of the other cool measuring tools out there that I have really learned to love are using a combination of a 30 millimeter AOE token plus the accurate blast measuring tools. So you now place your AoE token.
So let's go over
For a blast.
the blast measuring tools. Let's go through and enumerate all the different things you might see coming out of your opponent's bag.
So the next measurement tool is the blast measurement tool. If you get the Privateer Press one, it is a classic. I don't want to bring up the game that shall not be named, but Warhammer style ring with there's a couple of different variants on it, but the one that you get first, it comes with you buy this package. It has a spray measurement tool, and it has this a blast measurement tool. And the blast measurement tool is a disc. A pie plate, so to speak, with I want to say a 5-inch AoE, 4 and 3 on it, and a hole in the center. And the hole in the center is meant to be your center point. And it's very easy to hold that over top of the model and say, okay, all the models looking straight down at it, this model, this model, this model, this model are hit. However, love that. I mean, that's all we all use. You get it when you go and buy your first. And
everybody still carries it because it is a very useful device.
It's useful for a bunch of stuff. It's also around the same size as your Colossal base. It's got a bunch of different great uses. The problem with it is when you really are like in it, like when you are in the shit and there are 30 models, or you've got 4 models that you're not 100% sure, and that's where I go to the blast keys. And the way you do that is Muson Minis. I'm sure there are other companies that make them, but it's basically a 30 millimeter proxy base. Is basically the size.
Well, the key itself is not the proxy base.
No, I'm
proxy
talking
bases are a separate thing that you should.
No, but there is a
You're
token.
talking about the directional token.
The directional token that is the size of a 30 millimeter base.
Yeah,
that goes down where my tape measure lands for where my blast would have landed.
Yeah,
and where I aimed, if that makes sense. And then you have 3 keys. A one that says small base, medium, and large base. Because if you hit a small base, medium, and large base, you can use those keys to generate how far the blast would have.
So for people who are trying to listen to this
and going, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
It's an L-shaped piece of plastic. And on the L-shaped piece of plastic, you have 3 different distances: 3-inch, 5-inch, and 4-inch.
Yeah.
And the large key makes the assumption that you're running with a 50 mil base. So the distance from a large key to 3 inches is what that side is.
Yeah.
So I know that's sort of hard to imagine, but imagine an L-shaped piece of plastic.
It's done an accurate measurement off of 50 millimeters.
50 mil for a large, 40 mil for a medium.
And they have they have 3 different keys: one that says S, one that says M, one that says L. And this is something that comes up when a guy gets this key set. He's like,
"What is this?
Why do I have 3 keys?"
And how it's often used is, I have targeted this guy. He's been directly hit. You put down the blast key for 3 inches, and you run it around the outside edge of his base, and anything that blast key touches has been hit by the AoE.
And for a drift, you have basically a proxy base with the drift numbers on it. So if you've done a drift before for a blast, you roll between 1 and 6, and that decides which direction you go. And then you move the direction, you drop it in the direction, move the whole little proxy base in the direction you went, and then you can measure off of that who gets hit. So moving that behind, way more accurate way of deciding who gets hit. Like the amount of times that somebody's laid the little disc above my models and been like, I hit all 30 of your guys, they're all dead. And I'm like, no, dude, here's the key. Nope, you hit 4. It happens a lot. So not a bad thing to carry. Do we need to talk about, of course, spray templates. There's some great ones out there. I think the easiest one, of course, is the Privateer Press one, which we've all seen. Do not put the little plastic key
in the end of it.
In the end of it. It looks like a great idea until you break it.
And then the spray template isn't the wrong length.
One. So it comes with a little key, exactly like we just talked about, the L key type of deal.
But that's just for doing 2-inch and 1-inch.
2-inch and 1-inch. And it has this little thing that fits. It fits into the spray template. How awesome is that? I can use this.
It goes up over top of the models.
Yeah, now it goes up over. Great idea until the whole thing breaks.
Yeah,
and then you've got a spray template that's about a 1/4 inch short.
Yeah, it's in an unfortunate failure point.
Yeah, so just don't do that. If you never put it in there, you will never. And anybody who's put it in there has had it fail and been like, shit.
Yeah. Now, there are a couple other things we should mention, a couple other different tools that we've talked about but not said anything. One is the proxy base.
Yes.
Proxy bases
Super
are
important.
perhaps the simplest thing and one of the most important. They come in all the sizes that things come in, say, so 30, 40, 50, and 120 mil. And they're literally a disc of material, whether it be wood, plastic, whatever, if you're really lucky, with some arc markings on it. And they can be used to take the place of a model that is in either a situation that cannot be done because of, say, the model being top heavy or something like that, or it can be used to place where you wish the model to go to get confirmation from both yourself
and to go between a bunch of different things
and your opponent as to where the model can go. Say, for example, a really nice and accurate way to do a charge is to place the proxy base where you would like your model to end up, and then say, I'm going to charge to there, and ask your opponent if he sees any obstructions. You both agree that it's not. Then you measure the distance between the two and find out whether you can actually make that charge. And then if you can just place that model right over top of where that proxy base is.
However, some would argue, but if that is the case, and you have also, just to go, if you do that, and then you go, oh, I can't make it, so I'm not going to do that.
No.
You're not like, we're not giving you permission.
If you can't make it, then you measure to where you could make it.
Exactly.
And place the model
You
there.
fucked up, deal with it.
Exactly.
Don't be like, well, the guys on MooseMachine said that I could place this, and then I could make sure that I don't hit any obstructions. No. That's not how
It's
it works.
all about ensuring for both your own sanity and your opponents that you can actually make it from point A to point B.
And another shout out for Muse on Minis. They developed a really cool magnetic spray template this year.
Yes,
That's
which
one of the
is
greatest
wonderful.
things. And it's great for
They're
accurate
beautiful.
measurement as well.
It really
Don't
is.
forget.
One of the biggest
6, 8,
problems
10.
in War Machine is giving your opponent too much information.
Yep.
People will classically do this by measuring the entire distance of their control area instead of from their caster to a specific model. Another great way you can do it is to slap a template down on top of the guy in the front row, and his 6-inch spray only kills that front guy, and there's now a guy 10 inches away who you know,
Who now you know is 10
is in
inches.
range.
Okay, so leaving the measurement tools behind, there's a million more out there that have been developed by different people.
I would like to give a shout out to the 1-inch measuring tool. There are so many times
I'd
where you
I'd
have
like
to be,
nobody to own a 1-inch measuring
to
tool.
be pushed an inch,
Very
to be
embarrassing.
nudged an inch, and measurements that small with a standard tape measure.
Yeah,
are
you can't do it.
Almost impossible.
Don't measure 1 inches
No, you're
with a
gonna fuck
tape
it up.
measure.
Yeah.
As
You're gonna knock
every
something
man
over.
knows, when it's under 9 inches, you just don't want to use a tape measure. It's just way too
The
inaccurate.
1-inch measuring tool will make sure that is not a problem.
All right, so let's quickly move beyond some of the measuring tools. Let's talk about some of the other things that we carry in our bags. Quickly, we always carry our basic steamroller packet templates.
Yes.
You and I, not everybody, but you and I always carry flags and objectives. Those are things you can pick up from several different vendors. Those are not super necessary for you to carry all the time, but if you go to other people's places to play, you go to gaming stores a lot, let me tell you, you're a hero when you just whip out, here we go, guys, don't worry, I got a template for that.
Yeah.
We don't have to figure out, oh shit,
And
we got to go.
They don't have to be expensive. The classic templates are
Cut it out of
screen door material, the material you use for shelf liners,
Yep.
anything you can make a 12-inch circle and a 6 by 12-inch square that you can then roll up and throw in your bag. Also, we were talking about proxy bases.
Yep.
Objectives are 50 mils.
And proxy bases, just go buy a box of bases. Now
Yeah.
you've got all the... Our friend Tom is the king of proxy bases. He just went out and bought like 8... He played like an entire proxy army for a while because he just had a bunch of bases.
Because he hadn't put together a single damn model.
So the next thing... so that's cool. Let's talk about... The other thing that's cool is terrain. We all love to go to our local gaming store. We all love to use the local gaming store terrain. Houses are cool. Some of the hills and forests and water, not so cool. There's a couple different ways to get cheap, easy terrain. We've seen people use the liner for shelves. That's
Shelf liners in different colors.
Super easy way to cut out some terrain. Shout out to Chris Aubin for being the guy that has mastered the shelf liner terrain.
He has awesome shelf liner.
But all you have to do is have a couple different colors and say, all the brown is forest. All the green is hill. All the blue is water. Done.
Yeah.
Cool way. Also, the problem with the terrain often at the store, particularly the old Warhammer terrain that people have made, is it's
so huge.
It's huge, and often it's not really good to sit a model on.
Yes.
Kind of like models do this. And then you end up with models with dings and dents and missing paint. People get kind of frustrated when 10 minutes of the game goes by because you're trying to balance your model on a die or a stack of quarters to make it like line up with a hill that's been just cut a little bit too sharp. So not a bad idea to carry some terrain. The other place you can get it is the Unleashed box set. That's where I got all my terrain from.
Yeah.
It was like part of my little Unleashed box set thing.
Cheap mouse pads at the dollar store.
Cheap mouse pads at the dollar store. Really anything that you can cut into some weird shapes. It's not that hard to get terrain, guys. And just carry 6 pieces with you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the flags and objectives.
The Steamroller standard is 5 to 7 pieces.
Yeah.
If you have 10 pieces in your bag, it gives you a little bit of difference when you play every time, and in a pinch you can do 2 tables.
Shout out again to our friends at MooseMachine Mini, and I can't remember there's a Kickstarter going on that just ended. There's a couple different companies that are producing beautiful flat terrain,
really nice 2D terrain.
And so, I mean, honestly, if you've got some cash in your pocket, go buy that stuff. I mean, we want those guys. Those guys are friends of ours. We want you to support them. If you've got the cash, get yourself some cool flat terrain.
And you won't spend 20 minutes trying to get Lilith 2 to stand on the side of a hill.
Yep.
20 minutes.
20 goddamn
fucking minutes. And he had died, stack of quarters, stack of loonies. His penis. It was weird.
Yeah.
The next thing you carry with you at all times, even if you have War Room, is your cards.
All of your cards.
Bring all your fucking cards. Do not be that fucking guy.
Go to your local game store, and the Magic players buy these deck boxes, and they're little pieces of cardboard with flaps on them. And just get one of those, put all your cards in it, throw it in your bag, and never think of it again until War Room starts flashing that little light that says, I'm about to disappear in 2% of battery life. Pull your cards out, mark them up the way they are in War Room, and turn off your tablet.
Other ways you can go, shout out to Paul Campbell, who is the consummate, always carries the baseball card sheets.
Yep.
The old classic baseball card slip sheets. Yeah. And what he does is he builds his armies on those slip sheets.
Yeah.
So his armies are always like 3 pages. Boom, boom, boom. I've got my 3 pages ready to go. Then he never swaps them out. That's the way it is. So you can either have the stacks of the card slips, or you can have a binder with your armies pre-built in them. Mm-hmm. But have them, goddammit. There's nothing more like, I feel bad for the dude whose War Room crashes. And you're like...
Yeah. And remember, if you are playing in a tournament... If War Room craps out on you...
You've lost.
You lose.
Yeah.
It's a forfeit.
So, yeah, unless you're real... And right now, especially if you're playing with an old iPad or something like that, just for example, War Room's going to get more and more unstable.
Yes.
The more time goes by. So don't trust it. Always carry your cards. I know a lot of the more highly competitive players, even if they do have War Room open, still mark all their damage on the cards.
Most of the really good competitive players I know play with their own cards... And when they sit down at the table, they open War Room and build their opponent's army in War Room so that they can constantly refer to their opponent's army as at any time. But they always play with cards because they don't want... They have been playing long enough that... They are way faster with cards.
They also don't want to lose their ticket to War Machine weekend because War Room crashed. Because you know that would be fucking legendary.
Yeah. Brad's saying he didn't get cards with some of his models.
That happens. You can order them online, of course, in Privateer Press.
Yeah, just put in a pack.
You can also sometimes print them if you...
You should not be
You shouldn't do that.
Especially because if you didn't get it in the box,
you can get it for free.
You can get it for free. Right. Just let them know.
That's true.
But in the meantime, if you have a friend who's using the same cards.
Yeah, you can
own the
always
model.
you can borrow their
Not
cards.
like
We've
downloading
all
a
done
card.
it. Yeah.
And since War Room exists, like it's more than more than sufficient to play the one card.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so moving on from that, guys, we ask this of all the guests on our show, but we rarely ask it of each other. Maelstrom's still new to the game, so I don't know if he's really got one yet.
What's that?
What is the cool thing you've got in your bag that you don't think anyone else carries? Or the one thing that you've stolen from somebody else?
I don't have anything.
You don't
like
have
that
one yet, eh?
No. But I'm going to now. I'm going to steal something.
You're just going to have to go, like,
I'm
well...
going to steal a bunch of Tom's proxy bases.
Well, proxy bases, stealing Tom's proxy base is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The brass, one of the things that I always encourage people, new players to do is go to the hobby store and buy the brass rings for leatherworking. Because
I've heard people say they don't like the brass rings.
the brass rings can be mildly inaccurate, but when you need 30, let's say you're playing a Bradigus list and need like 10 3-inch freaking rings, sometimes it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
If you want to steal something from Marc Andre, his was a bottle of aspirin.
Yeah. Which I will be bringing to the next tournament.
And Devin had he always carries one of those, the Ninja Star arc markers.
Yeah.
Super, super good idea, especially if you got a guy who shows up who doesn't have arc markers. Then you can be like,
That reminds me. I have
shoulder to
mark
shoulder.
all my arcs before next Saturday's
you
tournament.
sure friggin' do. All right, so PG Semi-Auto Magic, what's the thing in your bag that you don't think everybody carries?
The thing that I don't think everybody carries. I would have to say my model repair kit.
Good one.
I think everybody should carry it, but not everybody does. In my model repair kit, it's relatively simple. It's a pair of clippers, a X-Acto knife, glue and kicker, and a file. And that's basically everything you need to put a model back together again, or in an extreme situation, put together the model that you forgot, and so you have just bought off the shelf. I always have that in one of the pockets of my bag.
Yep.
The other thing I like to do is I collect proxy bases. I have strange and wonderful proxy bases from all over the place.
And stuff you've
all
been to.
kinds of tournaments, all kinds of anything. Anytime I see a proxy base, I will attempt to trade off one of the ones I have for a different style, shape, color that I don't have.
Okay, so one of the cool things... so I keep an eye out for this stuff. You started me very early on in what's in the bag, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was really cool is Dylan, who is one of the owners of, I want to say, Fandom 2, as well as involved with the guys at FDB. He always carries a pocket full of the little tiny crazy glues.
Oh, yeah.
And he saved me at a tournament once. I was like, somebody knocked one of my models off of a table because they banged into the table. It was my Minuteman, I want to say. Broke my Minuteman in the middle of a tournament. I mean, it was fucked. And he was like, here you go. I'm like, oh, sweet. Fixed my model and gave it back to him. He was like, no, dude, I got a pocket full of these. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones I wanted to pass along to you, because now I always carry one of those. But I'm going to, if I ever ran a tournament, I would just have a pocket full of them just to be God's gift.
Like a goldfish bowl up at the front.
Yeah, it's God's gift to save it. The one thing I carry in my bag that I never see anybody else carry, and straight up, I always carry the steamroller packet.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Well, it actually has started to bother me that I'm the only one. Everybody else goes, shit, what's the this for steamroller? And then you see 20 guys pull out their iPhones and try to download it as quick, and they're like, it's like, seriously, dudes, you play this game all the time. Print out the friggin' steamroller packet. And usually at least one tournament you go to a year, it's sitting there on a table and it's going to get thrown out or thrown in a recycling bin. Slide it into your battle bag, put it in your pack of cards, have the steamroller packet. Because you kind of are going to need to refer. How many times does it come up somebody says, is there a death box in this scenario?
Killbox,
yeah, kill box in this scenario? Well, if you've got the steamroller packet, you go, no, yes.
Yeah, you just flip it to it. I like
Anyway.
Death Box.
Sorry. We should call it Death Box. It'd be way better.
is now the death.
All right,
This
so that's
Death
it. We've
Clock.
asked all the questions. Do we have any? What I wanted to know, we'll give before we go at the end of the show. If you've got something that you keep in your bag, the 4 people that are watching the stream, I want to hear about it. Whatever it is, unless it's just porn, because that's weird. You don't need it. It's one day.
Brad
Wait.
keeps the errata in his bag.
That's nice. Nice work, Brad. Yeah. Brad's
we're
a
doing
wise
speed round.
man.
There's questions, man. There's questions.
All right,
Don't
guys.
panic.
All right, guys. It's
ready?
time for
The lightning round.
the lightning round. 10 of the toughest questions in all of War Machine that I made 3 seconds
like,
before
yeah.
before this podcast started because I was kind of lazy today. Although I did advertise, which was kind of nice.
Yep.
All right. Unfortunately, this week we do not have a Minty Fresh question. Everybody must bug Minty that he didn't send me any new questions for a couple of weeks. I mean, he gave me a good bank and I used
His
them all.
name
up.
on Facebook.
His name is Roland
Monster Apocalypse
Crate.
Bug the shit out of that guy.
If you can spell all of that correctly and
Yes.
find him on
Any of
Facebook.
it?
And
Any of
Any
it.
of it correctly?
all right,
Just go to-
so
yeah.
we'll start with, and I'm sure I misspelled a bunch of stuff, and I'll read all of these wrongs, and I'm on my 3rd beer. So, 1. What is the standard distance of reach?
Half an inch.
2 inches.
2 inches is correct. Oh, half an inch.
No,
Come
no.
on.
Inch?
What the hell?
No,
All
that's why I stopped.
Uh,
Okay,
Not because I didn't buzz.
What is the reach on a throne of Everblight, Mr. Legion Boy?
4 inches.
all right. 2. If I am an ornery war beast, who am I? If I am an ornery,
Ornery, not
horny.
I was
horny.
gonna say.
If I'm an ornery war beast, who am I? So basically, whose animus is ornery? Anybody?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to say it's a pig.
No.
Oh.
Is it a-
Getorix.
Getorix is ornery.
Getorix has ornery.
And
as
so,
his-
well, get it right.
Question number 3.
No,
What
that's
is
fair.
rule number 5 on page 5?
Oh.
Rule number 5 on page 5.
Go hard or go home?
Nope. Nope, you're not allowed to pull it up. I took your book away just so
Damn it, you
it's
bastard.
all right. It is page 5 is not an excuse. Something I just
Yeah.
wanted to reinforce to everybody this evening because sometimes I think page 5 becomes a bit of an excuse.
Spartan's got a point.
Definitely
He got
has for me.
Getorix.
What's that?
Spartan,
Yeah.
he has a point. Spartan 2.
Oh, he got Getorix.
Yeah, he
Nice
got
work.
Getorix.
Nice work, Spartan. Nobody else has any.
He's
Oh, you
got
got
only
1
point.
point for the reach
Oh,
thing
okay.
so far. All right. This is a tough one. What is the strength of the Mountain King? Strength. We've all been looking at Mountain King lately.
I'm going to say it is 16.
It is not 16. I'll give Maelstrom a guess.
14.
It is not 14. It is 15. You guys are like, you guys is like hovered
damn
around
it.
it.
God damn it.
All right. This is. I'm going to say this is the Minty Fresh question of the day. It's only question number 5, but this is actually a really tough one. If I have fallen more than 3 inches, how much damage do I take?
More than 3 inches?
What
How
is the
much more?
damage? So if I've fallen exactly 3 inches or more, so what is the damage equation for 3 inches or more damage? It's written out in the book.
Okay, so you're going to take 2d6 plus an extra additional die for every inch of travel.
It's 2d6 plus 10 plus dice.
Oh, yeah, it's a d10 hit.
Yeah.
2d6 plus a die.
I'll give you half a
for
point
every-
because you just forgot about the 10. So half a point,
every
you're
distance.
at 1.5 points. Good for you. All right. Question number 6. What is the name of Alton Ashley's gun? Alton Ashley's gun. Alton Ashley's gun.
No idea.
Bucking Jenny.
Really? That's awesome.
Is Bucking Jenny. That's why I
I
thought
like
you
it.
might remember
Someday I'll get to
I
play
like
a
it.
faction that has mercs.
that. Yeah, well, you know, if you stop playing with your cock, you get to play with some mercs. All right. Question number 7.
Painted.
This is a tough one.
Looks pretty.
You've all been looking at this one, so you should get this one.
Cock's
What
so
is the
tall.
arm of the sacral vault? Arm of the sacral vault. What is it?
18.
He's just grabbing at numbers. I'm going to give you a chance there.
I'm going to say 19.
No, it's 20. Come on,
God
you
damn it.
guys!
20?
It is 20.
Damn.
Really?
Freaking awesome,
That's
dude.
nice.
What's his stuff? 10?
Probably,
Tell me
because
an
it's
arm
like a
buff,
giant
though.
thing of rock. It's just
Well, that's what I was just going
I
to say.
suppose.
Like, I mean,
Spartan
I thought
gets
you guys
another
might
point.
get that because it's
Prime,
like...
Prime,
got
Max, Prime
Spartan's
Maxium's
got
a
it.
7, so I figured that thing should
All
be
right.
raised.
Spartan's
Please
got it.
give... What's that?
Of course,
Spartan got that
Spartan
one
got
too?
it.
Because he's
Spartan
got
got
like the reference material.
Spartan got it.
All right. Give me all 4 standard base sizes.
30, 40, 50, 120.
30, 40, 50, 120. There you go. You got all of those ones. You're now at 2.5 points. Congratulations. Maelstrom is sitting over there.
Those are in millimeters.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. I'm having fun. Stop making fun of me, you bastards. Question number 9. This one's for you, Maelstrom.
Okay.
Who is on the Legion ADR for Season 3?
I know.
Go for it.
Rias.
Mm-hmm.
Veil 1.
Yep.
Oops. Abby. Abby
Yep.
2.
Mm-hmm.
And Lilith 2.
There you go.
Woo!
That was actually a 4-point question, so you're now in the lead.
Yes! Jason wins again!
All right.
The
For
game
the
is made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we did state this from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Not today from the beginning, but I mean, I'm talking from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, so question number 10. This is our pseudo minty fresh question of the day. It's not as tough as you think, because if you just think about it, you should be able to get it, because you've all seen this model. What does Anastasia Debray use as her ranged weapon? What does she use?
That cigarette?
I'm a spy. No, it's not a ranged weapon. It's not a ranged weapon. Anybody? Anyone? No guesses?
Spartan.
Nobody's gonna guess. All right.
Daggers.
It was throwing knives. See, if you'd guessed, I would have given you half a point.
Brad.
It was pretty well. It's pretty good.
I
It's
mean,
throwing,
no, that was me.
throwing knives. Pretty
Spartan
close.
says throwing dagger.
No, there you go. There you go. So anyway, that was your 10 tough questions for War Machine. Compliments to Maelstrom, who
Yeah.
won this week
Yes.
because I gave him 4 points for a single question.
Yay!
Although, in his defense, it took some.
Yeah.
He had to remember all that stuff. And
Yeah, I only saw it just
he's
today.
on like his 3rd beer, so
Yeah.
he only saw it today. We just made him read it. So compliments to Maelstrom. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go. It's PG Semi-Auto Magic events that are coming up. Go on that.
We have this weekend, November 7th, I want to say, is the next in our tournament series. This is the 11th hour. This is our November tournament. There's only 2 more after this. Then in the 21st, you have your choice of either an event in Kingston, which I believe is a standard steamroller, or in Montreal, there's a team tournament, 3-person teams. Both really good options.
What's the dates on that one again?
They're both November 21st. Ugh. Yeah, I know. Which one of them was on a different date, so go to both.
Yeah,
That's
if I'm
not
home
nice.
for the 21st, I think we may do the MooseMachine, show up in our jerseys and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I think I might be
Let's do
traveling.
that.
It'd be sweet, but I think I might be traveling.
Yeah.
So I'll have to check. I'm going to check that tomorrow, and I will report to the Moosies, all the
Where
Moosies,
we're going to be.
if we're going to be at that one. If we can't do the full team of Meese, then you guys can do whatever you want. But if we can do the team of Meese, that would be pretty awesome. Otherwise, you should just bring Brad because, well,
Yeah.
he could beat
well.
me anyway.
He's our
so,
honorary.
yeah, he's an honorary Meese. So,
We got to get him a shirt.
so places you can find us on the interwebs. It's pretty simple. If you want to find MooseMachine, just Google MooseMachine. If you can't do that, barring that, and you get some other weird porn site,
Again.
don't Google
Sorry.
Moosecock. That is Maelstrom's private website, and you will have to pay lots of money.
That's right.
You can find us on Facebook at Masfu. Just look up MooseMachine. You'll find us there. It's good to subscribe to our Facebook channel. We try to put some cool stuff on there a couple times a week. Sorry that we're not really as active as we should be, but, whatever.
It happens.
You can also find our personal actual website at the Ottawa Gatineau War Machine Club, or just look up MooseMachine on the internet. You should get us. You can find us on Twitch at Twitch TV /PG_semi-auto magic. Not as hard to spell as you think. Or just look up MooseMachine on Twitch and you'll find us there. Twitch is the best way to watch our live shows and to be part of all of our live shows. If you subscribe to our Twitch channel, just remember that whenever we do our games, which since our good friend Maelstrom over here should start having lunch hours free soon, means that me and Maelstrom should have some epic games of us screwing up every single rule in the book. So join us for that. That'll be really, really funny. I think it might just have to. That whole thing will have to become Maelstrom and Miffed fuck shit up because, and it'll be you telling us, God damn it, guys,
watching it work.
Could you get one rule right? You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. We have a channel. It's under George Schweitzer, but just look up MooseMachine. God damn it, you'll find us there. And SoundCloud and iTunes. Again, look up fucking MooseMachine. If you haven't figured out how to find us yet, it's not that hard, people.
Just probably should type MooseMachine in.
You should just give up the internet because you're 80.
And how are you listening to this
Why
podcast?
are you... Yeah, and why are you...
What are you even doing?
Just do it right.
What are you going to do with your life?
But the cool part about SoundCloud is SoundCloud's a little bit faster than iTunes. So subscribe to our SoundCloud and download it, and you will have it like right away. So
and
if you
it's
have,
not iTunes.
And it's, well, iTunes, I like iTunes. I mean, gotta support... iTunes isn't that bad. They gave me GarageBand for free. And iTunes takes a little bit longer, but it's all good. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's been actually a super fun podcast. I don't know if we were as productive as we wanted to be, but you learned about some new tokens that you can go buy. We didn't even talk about tokens. Which is hilarious. We've talked about tokens before. We talked about measuring tools a lot. So, over there. Maelstrom, thank you very much for running the stream and for chatting with Brad.
My pleasure.
Chatting with Brad and drinking. You will notice that we stopped him from drinking entire bottles of wine every show.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
No, we banned him.
Not since the incident.
Yeah.
So you can go through our whole back catalog and try to find that episode.
If you can find the incident, we'll give you $10.
The Maelstrom wine bottle incident.
The Maelstrom. It won't be that hard to find.
No.
PG, anything I want to say before we go?
Nope.
Awesome.
It was an awesome cast.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We are around next week, and hopefully we have a guy. What's his name from Plus One?
We're going to try and get one of the members of Plus One Armor. Shout out to Plus One Armor. Great 40K, and they're just getting into War Machine podcast. They're out of the city here, and if we're lucky, we'll be able to talk Andrew into coming on and telling us
that'll be really
why
cool.
They've actually started playing some War Machine.
If not, we'll just get Marc Andre.
Yeah, why not?
And he'll just
we got to get Brad on the show sometime.
Yeah, we do need to get Brad on the show. Barring that, Marc Andre will lay some wisdom down on us.
Yeah.
And we'll move on from there. Hopefully we'll have some more great comments about War Room. We've actually gone past the death clock by a whole 11 minutes tonight. But that's okay because we started 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
And
so it's been
a week. So we're actually minus 50 minutes for the week we missed.
There we go.
So anyway, thank you very much, guys. We will... We've been death... Put your fucking dice down. We've been death clocking, bitches.
Go home.
All right, let it run for 5
families.
minutes or so, and yeah. So don't hit stop streaming. Whatever you do, don't.
I'm joking. I didn't.
Because there's nothing worse than like when I have to add in a fake ending. Well, we missed the ending again, guys.
Overdub.
How many times do you have to do that?
We talked about 4.
Bringing beers down.
We talked about some awesome stuff.
But you didn't.
You weren't listening live.
That happens. Shit happens.
I should just call Mike about that box, see if he's actually going to paint that Crix box. Because I've got like that Crix paint I've got kind of down. It's like whack, whack, whack. I'm not going to win the competition or anything, but...
Not if you just whack.
I've won whacking competitions before. It's amazing what I can do.
About that.
What I can do in 30 seconds, most men can't do.
Oh, yeah. Water.
Do you want to try that?
No, that's fine, man.
All right. I gotta finish this still. I've still got like
Jesus
a full
Christ.
fucking beer. That's why.
Guinness American Lager?
I know, right?
Not sure how I feel about that.
So, Brad got anything to say? Because, I mean, like,
Brad
this is
did.
Brad time. This is special Brad time.
Brad wants to know what he would do on here. I'm not that good or popular.
Hey, we discovered that Brad...
We're on here all the time.
We get on here.
Brad was stream. We know that Brad had his own stream. We discovered it. Jason found... Didn't you find Brad
No,
on
it
the
was on
internet?
Mini Wargaming.
Oh, yeah. It was... We got to get down there and do that. The three of us. We got to go down.
Okay.
And show up at Mini Wargaming store.
Done.
That'd be awesome.
Do it. No, Brad, I think, what would we talk about? Brad could talk about how to kill E. Kane in less than 30 seconds. How to really stymie an E. Kane player. Yeah. Or tell stories about Mift and Maelstrom being really drunk, because that'll happen.
Yeah. Coming in the hotel room at 3 o'clock in the morning. Trying their
And
best
eating
to
all
wake him up.
all his pizza.
And eating all his pizza. Thanks for the pizza, Brad.
It was really funny because we walked in and
Well,
he
he
was
actually has a cool job that he could talk about.
he
too.
could talk about his cool job. He
Yes,
was passed
he
out
did
in the
very
corner. He was passed out in the corner so hard.
Yeah.
And there was a full, like, he'd eaten like a slice of that
Yeah, like
pizza.
a slice of pizza.
And you and I were like drunk as shit because we had gone out to a very reputable bar
Yes.
where fully clothed people gave us beers. And we ate all of Brad's pizza. But then the next morning he woke up and the first thing he said to us, in his defense, was, "Did you guys find the pizza?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Oh, you
Oh,
took
dude.
away the glory of us stealing it," which we felt.
my fucking pizza.
Well, yeah, we were really looking forward to you waking
Yeah.
up and being like,
That's
"Fuck
half the
you,
reason we
bitches!
ate
You
it all.
stole my pizza."
That's true.
Good times.
Yep.
Brad, also known as the angriest beer machine player ever.
Man, that was so much fun.
That was so silly.
I want to. Oh.
Although
was
the
awesome.
other angriest beer machine player was what's his name, the
Oh,
guy,
Dylan. Dylan, yeah.
who like was just so frustrated that everybody was cheating, and we
yeah.
were like, dude.
He was a real stickler for the rules. I was trying to get fucking like even the slightest little cheat by. He's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Stop cheating, Judge. Judge says it's okay. God damn it!
I still told so many little lies to Russ. I was like, yeah, I'm at 8 on this guy, so...
Well, that's solid. That's kind of how you win
Yeah.
a beer machine.
Yeah.
Unless you ask a judge, and then the judge just wastes
Yeah.
your time, makes you buy him a beer,
Yeah.
and then tells
Then
you
you
that
have to... Yeah.
you need to chug it. All right, we can stop the stream, guys. Thanks, Brad,
You know
for...
Lilith 2 had 7 Fury.
You guys are awesome. Oh, thanks, Brad.
Yeah. And other people who came out,
Yeah,
too.
the
'cause-
people who came out. You stopped streaming already. They don't even know.
Oh, did we? No, we're still streaming.
Oh, okay. Hey, thanks everybody else who came out. How many
Good
people
night.
we get?
I think we had like 5 or 6.
Whoa. Red letter night.
Not too bad for missing a week, though.
Yeah. We do.
Brad didn't
Did you
get on
stop
until
streaming?
late. No, I'm still streaming.
Stop
I'll
it.
stop right now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.